All right, so hopefully you watched the video already on all the new vocabulary and postulates that we looked at. We are going to go ahead and start into our lesson now. So again, in your packet, in lesson 1-1, we're going to start looking at the measurements of segments, measurements of angles, all that fun stuff. So this is, I wonder if I can move my video so you can see better. Okay, so hopefully that's better where you can, a little bit more out of the way. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in with example 1 in our packet. So I've kind of been using this blue color, so we'll stick with that. Okay, so example 1 says find segment lengths, meaning how can you find the length of line segment AD, CD. I know it's a line segment because there's a line above it with no arrows, so I know it's starting at C and ending at D, which means we're really looking at this length right here. And so because this is on the number line, it should be pretty easy. We're actually going to use the absolute value just in case. But let's walk through the process of how we do this. So line segment, so CD, that's a C, there we go. So CD is equal to, and then we're going to use the absolute value. So we're going to say the absolute value of, and I'm going from C to D. So C, the value of C is 1, the coordinate of C is 1. And then we're going to subtract, and then we're going to go to the coordinate of D, which is 4. And then I'm going to close. So these bars right here, those are my absolute value. So then I ask myself, okay, I'm going to draw my absolute value bar again. What is 1 minus 4? So 1 minus 4 is -3. Close that absolute value. And then remembering what an absolute value does, absolute value is this distance away from 0 on a number line. So here's -3, right? How far away from 0 is that on the number line? Well, it's 1, 2, 3 units. So the absolute value of -3 is just +3 because the distance from -3 to 0 is 3. And then don't forget units. In this case, I'm not given, is this inches, is this feet? Wow, sorry. I can spell. So we don't know. Right? We don't know what unit this is, so we're just going to go ahead and write units. So hopefully that feels pretty good. Second part of this question is, what is the measure of AD? So we're just going to do the same thing. So line segment AD, so AD, line segment is equal to, I'm going to draw the absolute value. And we're starting at A, which is -3. And we're subtracting, you always subtract, D, which is 4. Okay, so then we do the math. -3 minus 4 is -7. The absolute value of -7, how far away is -7 from 0 on a number line? And it's 7 units. I am fully confident that you are able to look at a number line and make those conclusions without having to do this. However, if you start to get into bigger numbers, it could be more difficult, or if you aren't given the number line and you're just given the coordinates, it might be more difficult. So just keep this in mind when you're solving this. So Right now we have a try it. I want you to pause the video and actually try this. Find the length of BD and find the length of AC using this method. And when you're ready to go over it, go ahead and hit pause. Okay, so we are gonna just go over this really quickly. So the line segment of BD, so BD is equal to the absolute value, B is 0, minus D is 4. 0 minus 4 is negative 4, so I want the absolute value of negative 4, which is 4 units. If you're getting a negative answer here, guys, I want you to really think about it, because how can the distance of something be negative, right? So all your answers should be positive. And then the last one is AC. Absolute value, A is negative 3, minus C is 1. So when I subtract these, negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Oh, funny, it's the same answer. The absolute value of negative 4 is going to be 4 units. Make sure you're writing units. So hopefully we're feeling good with that. If not, reach out, let me know. We can go through stuff together and whatnot. But let's go ahead and move on to example 2. So I'm going to scroll down here. There it is. Okay. So example 2 is having us look at the segment addition postulate. Remember, that was the one that said if I have one line segment and then another line segment, I can add them together and it'll create one long segment, right? So here it says points F, G, and H are collinear. So what that means is they are all on the same line. And we can see that by looking at the diagram, that they are all on the same line. If G to H is 16, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that. So this distance right here from G to H is 16. So hopefully that makes sense. What is F to H? So this is what we're interested in right here. And I'm going to draw a little question mark. So I'm interested, in the whole thing, but not as far as I went. Okay. So looking here, I see that G to H is 16, but I also see that G to H is 2x plus 2. So those two things have to be the same, right? If G to H is 2x plus 2 and G to H is 16, then they are the same thing. So I can go ahead and write an equation that says that. So I know that 2x plus 2 is the same thing as 16. And now this is something that we can solve easily. So I want to get the x by itself. So I'm going to move the 2 to the other side by subtracting. So I have 2x equals 14. Right, 16 minus 2. Then I can divide by 2, and I get x equals 7. So that's pretty exciting that I was able to figure out what x was. However, that's not what it's asking me. It's asking me what the distance is from F to H. Well, I know G to H is 16, so I just need to know what F to G is. So that's what I'm curious in. What is F to G? Well, F to G is 3x minus 1. I know that. So 3x minus 1. However, I just figured out that x is 7. So I can plug that back in, 3 times 7 minus 1, and solve this. So I get, oh, I guess I should put, this is easier, huh? This is FG that we're looking at. Okay, so 3 times 7 is 21 minus 1, which is 20. So that tells me that this distance right here so from F to G, pin's jumping, is 20. So if I know that this is 20 and this is 16, can I find the whole length, right? I have one little section that's 20, and then I have another bigger section that's 16. So together, what do they equal, right? So the distance from F to H is equal to 16 plus 20. And so that just tells me that 16 plus 20 is 36. So that lets me know that the distance from F to H is 36 units. And again, I don't know what the unit is. It doesn't tell me. Is it feet? Is it inches? Is it centimeters? It doesn't tell me. So I just write units. Okay, so we are at another try it. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video. Actually try this. Again, if you mess up, don't worry about it. Messing up is how we learn, okay? So, but really put in some effort, try it, and then when you're ready to go over it, go ahead and hit play. Okay, so hopefully we gave this a shot. Again, I know that J, K, and L are collinear. J to L is 25. So hopefully you at least got this far in drawing that this whole length is 25. Okay, that whole length is 25. And I'm given what these guys are, okay? So the first question is, what is N? I'm trying to solve for N. Well, I know that JK, which is 3N, and then added with KL, which is 5N minus 7, is 25. So 3N plus the 5N minus 7 is 25. So just listening to how I said that should give us an idea of the equation that we're looking at. So 3N plus 5N minus 7 equals 25. Okay, so both pieces of this line segment equal the whole line segment. And then again, this is something I can solve. So I'm going to combine like terms, 3N plus 5N. Holy moly, come on now. Is 8N minus 7 equals 25. Okay, I now solve, so I want to get the N by itself, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And I get 8N equals, and then 25 plus 7 is 32. Hopefully you can write smaller than I can so you don't take up as much space. 32, divide by 8, and I get N equals 32 divided by 8 is 4. Okay, so there's part A. N is 4. Now part B says, what is JK? Well, J to K is 3N. So J to K is equal to 3n. And I know what n is. N is 4. So if I plug that in, right, 3 times 4, and I get 12 units. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12, and then don't forget your units. Okay, so there's JK. Now I want to know KL. I'm going to have to do it over here because I used too much space. So KL is equal to 5n minus 7. And again, I know what n is. N is 4. So 5 times 4 minus 7. 5 times 4 is 20. So 20 minus 7, which gets me 13 units. So then you can say, well, how can I check my work? How can I make sure that this is right? Well, I know that 1 is 12 and 1 is 13, and I know that the total should be 25. So is 12 plus 13 25? Yes, it is. So I know I did it right. Okay, if I got two numbers that didn't add to 25 in this case, then something would be wrong. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Again, if not, make sure you're reaching out to me or to your teacher to get some extra help if you need it. Okay, example 3 is using the protractor postulate to measure an angle. So we are just going to figure out what these angles are. So it should be pretty quick. We do have a protractor here already set up for us. First example is, what is the measure? So that little m means measure. So what is the measure of angle BEC? So I'm going from B to E to C. Okay, so I'm drawing this from B to E to C. So again, I'm going to use absolute value. So the measure of angle B, oh boy, E, C is equal to the absolute value. So B is, we can estimate, here's 40, here's 45. It's kind of in the middle. Let's say 47. Minus C, again, I'm going from here. Here's 0, right? So here's 100, here's 110. It's right at 105. So when I subtract those, I get negative 58. So 47 minus 105 is negative 58. And then when I take the absolute value, I get a positive 58. So 58. And then what is the unit of measure for this? And it should be degrees because we're talking about angles. We do a little degree symbol. So go ahead and pause this. Give it a try here. Find the measure of A to E to C. So what is that measure? And then also B to E to D. What is that angle measure? And then when you're ready to go ahead and hit play. Okay, so here we have the answers here, so make sure you check your work. A should have been pretty quick because you're going from 0 to 105. So the measure of angle AEC is just 105. And then to find BED, you're going to do the same process we did up here. Angle B, point B is at an angle of 47. Point D is at an angle of 130. So 47 minus 130 is negative 83. And then the absolute value of negative 83 is just 83. And then don't forget your units of degrees. So hopefully that's making sense. Again, if not, reach out and we'll move on to example 4. So for example 4, this is actually one that we're going to go over in class. I mean, we're going to do all of these in class, but this is one, it involves like way too much drawing for me to be able to do it on my tablet. So we're going to do the example 4 and the try it in class. So if you are watching this because you missed the in-class notes, then let's meet like one-on-one and we can go over this problem together. So we're just going to do the last example, which is example 5. And so this one we're looking at using our congruent angles and our congruent segment postulates that we talked about in the previous video. So let's just look at part A and just dive right in, okay? So this says if the measure of angle x, w, z, so from x to w to z, so that is this whole thing. Oh my goodness, I can do much better than that. It's almost better, you know, to not think about it as much. There we go. It doesn't have to go through the points. So this whole thing is 127 degrees. And I know that because they gave it to me. So the whole thing from x to y to v to z, the whole thing is 127. It says, what is the measure of angle YWV? So this is what I'm interested in finding. And let's call it lowercase x. Okay, so that's what I'm interested in finding. So I know by looking at it what information was given to me. Well, I know that x, let my pen jump around real quick. Okay, so I know that XWY is 32. And then I have this line drawn right here, but it doesn't tell me what the angle is. Well, because I have this line drawn and it was given to me and this angle drawn, I can assume and I know that this is also 32. Okay, because there's no tick mark, but just even having the line drawn is essentially a tick mark. Okay, so I now know the 3 different angles that make up this whole angle, right? I know 32, I know x, and I know 32. So that tells me that if I add up all 3 of these angles, it's going to equal the total angle. So if I add up my 32, and I'm just going in order, plus x, because I don't know x, plus the other 32, I know that all 3 of those added together is going to equal the whole angle, which is 127. Okay, so I'm going to combine like terms. 32 plus 32 is 64. So 64 plus x equals 127. And I'm trying to solve for x, so I want to move that 64 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 64. Go, subtract 64. And we put this into our calculator or do the mental math real quick. And I get that x is equal to 63. Sixes and eights are hard to do on this tablet, apparently. Okay, but it's not asking me for x necessarily. It wants me to write down what is the measure of angle y, w, v. That was a z. Y, w, v. And we know now that that is 63. So just make sure that when you're writing your answer that it is answering the question, right? It wanted to know what is the angle measure of YWV. And so then YWV is 63. And then we're done. Let's get into the habit of always boxing our final answers. Okay, so what I actually want you to do, no, never mind, let's do B. Okay, so B is what is HF? So H to F. So we're looking at this line segment right here. I'm gonna call it X. What is that distance from H to F? And I have all of these tick marks everywhere. So there's a lot of stuff going on, right? So I'm just going to start filling in information that I know. I look here, this is the first thing I see is that one tick mark means it's 8 centimeters. So this right here is 8 centimeters, and I know that because it has one tick mark. Okay, this is 8 centimeters. Oops. Okay, well that's an 8. And I don't know any other single tick marks, but I do know that these two are 8 because they both have 8. All right. Then I see that my 2 tick marks is 11. So this is 3. I don't know what that is. So here's 11. So 11 centimeters. I don't know DE. I don't know CD. I don't know AB. I don't know GE. So that's it. So just looking at this now, if I know that H to G is 11 and G to F is 8, I can just add those together. So the distance from H to F, so HF, holy moly, is 11 plus 8. I'll write it. So the distance from H to F is 19. And then what is the unit? In this case, we don't have to write units. We actually know that the unit is centimeters. So hopefully that feels good. On the next page, if we scroll down, is a try it, and there's one of each of these. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out, and then we're going to scroll down, and I want you guys to pause this video, and when you are ready, I want you to do A and B, and so then when you're done with both of them, whether or not you got it right or whether or not you got all the way through, I want you to try them. And then when you're ready to get some hints or to go over them, go ahead and hit play. Okay, so for A, hopefully you at least filled in information that you were given. You were given that N to O to P is 31, and you were given that N to O to Q is 114. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy, right? Okay, so we have this labeled. And then the only other thing we don't label, I want to know what R to O to Q is. I want to know what this is. So this is my X. That's what I don't know. And then the only other thing I don't know is this guy. But since these two are labeled the same, this is also X, right? If this is X, if ROQ is X, then POR has to be X as well. So now I can write an equation. Know that these three angles add up to 114. So 31 plus X equals 114. And I'm just going to start solving. So I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have 31. And then X plus X is 2X equals 114. I'm trying to get that X by itself, so I'm going to subtract 31. So if I subtract the 31 to the other side, 114 minus 31 is 83. So 83 on the right, and I still have, oh boy, nope, I still have 2X on the left. Okay, divide both sides by 2 because I want to get the X by itself. And 83 divided by 2 is 41.5. Okay, so I know that X is 41.5. So the measure of angle ROQ is equal to 41.5 degrees. And then again, I'm going to box it. Hopefully that's feeling pretty good. And then in part B, we need to use the figure from earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll up so that we can look at this figure. So here we are. Oh, let's at least read the question, I guess. So I'm given all this information. I'm given that CD is 11.5, DE is 5.3, and that the whole perimeter, so perimeter means the whole outside added up, so every single side length added up, is 73.8, and it wants us to find out what is GE. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up here, and I'm going to start labeling everything I'm given. I know that 2 tick marks is 11, and I'm not going to write the centimeters just for the sake of space. Okay, so I know that this is 11. I know that 1 tick mark is 8. So these two sides are 8. Then the information I'm given that C to D is 11.5. I'm given that D to E is 5.3. So this is information that was given to me in that problem. And I'm given that the whole perimeter is 73.8. So the only side that I don't have on the perimeter is this guy right here. And I'm going to call this, let's call this A, lowercase a. It kind of looks like a 9. Let's not call it A. Let's call it lowercase b. Okay, B. So I know that if I add up all of these sides, it's going to add up to 73.8. So I can write an equation for this. I can say B plus 11. So I'm going this way. B plus 11 plus 11. I probably should have given myself more room. Plus 8. So I'm just going around the shape. Plus 8. Plus 5.3. Plus 11.5. Plus 8. So I've added up all of the sides, and I know that that's going to equal 73.8. Okay, so real quickly, I'm going to add up all these sides here and combine like terms. Okay, so I already did the math here, and I added up 11, 11, 8, 8, 5.3, 11.5, and 8, and I get 62.8. So now I want to know what B is, so I'm going to subtract 62.8, and I get 11. So 11 equals B. So I can then take away the B, and I can write in 11. So that's exciting. Okay, but the question isn't asking me what is B, what is AB. So if I scroll down really quickly, so all this stuff is going to come with me. The question is asking, what is GE? What is the value of GE? So I need to figure out, well, where's GE? So if I'm looking, GE is right here, and it's labeled by 3 tick marks. So what other side is 3 tick marks? Well, that would be AB. And AB is 11. So that means that GE must also be 11. So if we scroll down so that we can actually answer the question here, after we do all of that work, we can go ahead and say that GE is equal to 11. And then again, what is the unit? In this case, the unit is centimeters. Okay, so that's it for 1-1. Again, example 4, we're going to do in class, so don't worry about that. If you missed class and you're watching this because you missed class, then make sure that you contact me and we can go over example 4 on our own. So go ahead, reach out to your teacher if you need any help, and have a great day.